And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Pairs. This is Deluxe Edition Pairs. Now, I know they did a Kickstarter for Pairs, and when they did that, there was a whole pile of different varieties of Pairs. This is a game that's been out for a while. I just got this now. This is an older game. I know people have been playing this. I'm like coming around and being one of the last people to play it, but I wanted to try it out, right? This sounded interesting. It's from Hip Pocket Games, which is from James Ernest Games. It's, I guess, a new branding of what they've done, but I heard good things, and this is kind of like a set. It's a deck of cards, but there's 30 rule sets in a book that's included with here, so it's kind of like one of those piece pack, one of these things, or like a substitution for just a regular 52 deck of cards with the 4 suits. This is different, and so just like a regular deck of cards, you can play hearts and spades and poker and so on. This has a lot of games you can play with it too. Let's take a look. A deck of Pairs cards, and there's many different decks. They each have different items on them. Has 1 2 2s, 3 3s, all the way up to 10 10s. And so this one happens to be a produce style deck. So the regular game of Pairs works this way. Each player is dealt a card. So let's say there's 4 players in the game, and these are the cards that they are dealt. So let's say I'm player A here, and I have the cherries. On my turn, I have 2 choices. I can draw another card from the deck, or I can basically drop out of the game. So when I drop out of the game, which is called folding, I'm going to take the lowest point card on the table, and that's going to be points. Points are bad in this game. So I'm going to draw. Now I draw and I get a 10 here. This is not a pair. I'm fine, because in pairs, you don't want a pair. The next player can do the same thing. They can draw, or they can take the 3. So they're sitting here thinking there's 6 more 7s in the deck, so they could get a pair, which if you get a pair, you're going to get 7 points, or they could just take the 3 points, but they draw, and they get a 6. The next player is a little more nervous because they have a 10, but they'll draw 2, and they get a 2. The next player draws, and they get a 4. So far, so good. Now it comes back to my turn. Now I have a 3 and a 10, so if my card matches either one of those, I'm feeling risky, and I get a 9. Of course, the next time it's my turn. The next player draws and gets a 3. The next player draws and gets a 3. The next player draws and gets a 7, and it's back to my turn. Now I'm breathing a little heavy here because I know there's 8 9s in the deck still. There are 8 10s in the deck still, but there's no 3s. But 10 and 9 makes it dangerous. I'm just going to draw anyway. And boom, I get a 9. So I'm going to keep one of the 9s as my score, and everyone else discards their hands, and we start another round. So that's how the game is going to work, and you're going to play to a certain number of points. The rule book has numbers here, so if you're playing with more than 6 players, first person to 11 points, which would be pretty bad since I just got 9. In a 2-player game, I could go much longer. And then there's some other rules, but basically that's the basic game. Then this rule book has plenty of other good games in it. It has one where you have neutral players, where they're all playing cards, and you are betting on how many are going to stay in each round. There's a game called Deadfall, where you are basically trying to get rid of, you're each playing a card from your hand, and you're trying to guess if all the cards of that one are out of everyone's hands. There's Octopus, where you're trying to get hands of either all the same, multiples of cards, or duplicates. And there's many, many different games that are using this. Some of these games are variations on Pairs, and some of these games are completely different. Throughout the rulebook, they also, as you're looking through this deluxe rulebook, you will occasionally see sets of other, art for the different Pairs games that are in the set. There's a lot of different Pairs games, like I said. Like, for example, here's the Las Vegas set. But there's a lot of different games here, and you can play them, or you can just play basic Pairs, as I just showed you. I mean, the thing about Pairs is you can basically just get the deck you want. So this is the deck I have. I don't know that this is the deck that I would pick, the different kinds of vegetables, but I do like that they're different colors and different numbers. It's really easy to tell them apart. I don't know which deck I would pick. Maybe the Wild West deck, but the cards are decent quality. The rule book is obviously the main thing in this deluxe set, and it comes with these. They're very easy to understand. They show illustrations and guides. It's a nice little rule book with, as I say, more than 30 pairs, games, and variations. All right, so that's Pairs. You know, it works really well. I like how Pairs is. I like the idea of the original game. I find that getting pairs and pushing your luck, that's something I like. It's a really simple game, right? But I played it. My kids really enjoyed it. It was a fast game. Then I started messing with some of the other games in this book, and I haven't played through all of them. I will say that Deadfall is good. The Octopus game was good. What was one that I really... Carousel. For some reason, I really liked Carousel. And that's pretty neat, right? So here's my thing. I'm always a little nervous about a piece pack game or something like that, where there's a lot of games. And I'll say, well, you know, how many of these games have to be excellent for it to work? So here's the thing. With Pairs, the regular game of Pairs, just that whole little push your luck bluffing type game, that works really well. That's a game that's a pretty solid straight up game. And if that's the only game in the box, that's fine. But it has these other games, and some of them are really quite good. Some of them you're going to need poker chips and things like that for. But overall, the whole thing comes together in a nice little package. So I like that. The games are fine. You know, usually I think it's a bunch of mediocre games. I think these are a bunch of good games. Again, I haven't played them, but I haven't played a game in here that I have disliked yet. So with Pairs, I think your best bet is, if you're going to get the game, go out and find the theme that you're interested in, you know, the Western theme, or you know, maybe you just want to get this one. I don't know how many of the deluxe pairs there are. You might be stuck with this deck if you want all the rules for that. But I think even online, you're going to find other variants and things online to play with this. So it's a pretty cool system. I like it. If you're really looking for a bang for your buck, this is going to give you a lot of games and a lot of different ways to play them, and ways where you can play them with several people. Definitely something to check out. Pairs. Dice Tower Judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!